Good morning and welcome to the Morning DNA for September 30th, 2020. I'm Aaron Dicer, the man of a single black shirt. She is, Danae says, the woman of a million distractions and the woman who no longer is covering her coffee. A couple days with the lid was enough, apparently, for Danae.
I knew I forgot something.
And we're here to see what this morning is made of.
Oh,
and
let
we're
me tell
here to
you.
do that with you. Yeah, tell me, Danae.
Today is National... Sorry. I find myself funny. Today is National Women's Health and Fitness Day.
It's important.
And Chewing Gum Day. So the ladies are going to get fit while chewing gum, which I don't know if you know this, but women can actually do two things at the same time.
Wow. Astonishing.
I know. Also, it's Hot Mulled Cider Day. So after the workout, finish it up with a hot mulled cider.
And let's be clear. I believe that's MULLED, not MOLD.
Right.
Hot mulled cider is a different thing.
Am I not saying it well? Mulled.
No, the words are just very similar. So just trying to clear those up.
It's mulled cider.
Mold.
Not mold. Follow that up with a mud pack and you're feeling great. And then it's also National Love People Day.
Oh.
So call someone you care about, send them a text, tell them you love them. And that's what today is all about.
I think that's an important thing all the times. For me, this is Feel Amazing Day. I woke up feeling great today. Like, it's just one of those days. I have this, I've been using this thing called a Whoop. I don't know if you know anything about it, but it sits on my wrist, and it's not it doesn't have a screen or anything, but it keeps track of like my vitals, those kind of things.
Because you died that one time.
Two times.
That's two times.
2 times now. I have died. And it's kind of cool because it does all these little formulas on like how you sleep and different things like that. And it'll tell you like, how well you slept. And so I woke up this morning and I was feeling really good. Like I have no neck or back pain, which is really strange for me today. So that was feeling nice. And I looked at my Whoop stats and it was like 93% recovery. It was like my highest number ever. I was like, oh yeah, let's do that again. But I don't know how to do it again, but we'll try.
Wow. Well, maybe you should have a day where you have to take your son for double ear infection and all this stuff.
That's what I had to do yesterday. That yesterday was crazy busy. So maybe that has a little bit to do with it. I don't know.
Ended up
taking a kid into the urgent care during a pandemic. That's always fun, going to a medical facility during a pandemic, but it was necessary.
Man, you're talking about like sleeping well and your body's feeling good. Because I know you got a new chiropractor and I've got a new chiropractor too.
Yeah.
My chiropractor has given me this challenge to not cross my legs. Holy crap. That is so hard to do.
Is it because it messes up like your hip alignment or something like that?
Yeah, I have apparently the anterior head of my femur, my right femur bone, was rotated forward, which is what was causing my hip pain. I didn't actually realize it was hip pain. I thought it was like leg pain. So anyways, she tweaked something and now it's feeling better. But she's like, you do your best to not cross your legs. And I guess that's sort of the equivalent of telling someone not to do something and that's all they can think about. Oh,
sure. Yeah. Don't think of a pink elephant.
See, we all fail.
Right.
Lolly says, cross legs, terrible for your spine. Okay, so hello, didn't know that. I cross my legs all the time. And so the last 2 weeks, last week was the full week of me trying. Going into this next week, I'm midweek, not doing great, but I'm trying. I want to cross my legs all the time. It is I've done it 4 times just sitting in this chair in the last 15 minutes. And I'm like, I can't do it anymore. She said I could, get this, you're going to love this, cross my ankles.
Oh, nice.
And I was like,
nice.
Like a dainty woman of old. Crossing my ankles as if I'm a proper woman,
Shall I cross my big toes?
Can I cross my toes, darling? Oh, I'll just cross my ankles. That doesn't do anything for me. Anyway.
But it's just force of habit, right? It's not like crossing your legs is this amazing thing. It's just something you've always done. And so it's just part of how you do things. I know this, like I'm trying to figure out how to work better, how to be more ergonomic when when I'm typing, all those kind of things. And I'm not good at it because I just have a way I've done it for so long.
Let me guess,
I got myself. Yes,
Like hunched over.
I am a hunchback typer, and
Yeah.
part of that comes from my size, like, being tall, and most things aren't made for, when I type on a regular size keyboard, it looks like this,
Oh my
you
gosh,
know?
Aaron. So like
So
realistically, like right now you're looking at us and we're like the same height, but
mhm.
realistically it's like
More than that. More yeah, there you go. That's the realistic version of us standing next to each other.
Aaron's like
Yes.
so tall.
So I'm trying to, and like I bought a lap thing for my laptop. I bought a laptop holder for my
Okay.
laptop
Okay.
on my top of my
Laptop.
lap.
Okay.
Anyhow, it tilts it up so that I'm
Oh
looking
yes.
more at the screen, and so the keyboard's more up here, and so I'm trying to do
Mhm.
that stuff, but it's just, I don't know, it's just not all that easy.
Yeah,
So,
being ergonomic is important and difficult and
mhm,
expensive because if you
mhm.
start to get equipment to make your life easier, then you end up getting like tabletop stands and blah blah blah. Which kudos to you though, because we all know based on I think was it last week you showed us your new setup, and then you
Mhm.
just got your laptop on boxes now. So good job. It's just
Yeah,
all
I'm trying
makeshift
trying
over
to
there.
keep, face forward, spine straight, shoulders back. You know what I learned? The most recent thing I learned that has helped me out quite a bit is to not just put your shoulders back, but also put your head back too.
Yeah,
So
like
creates a
like a
nice,
hot dog.
yeah, creates a nice double chin, that kind of
It's
thing. But
super great. Guys, how's this
no, but
looking?
the idea is sometimes you put your shoulders back and you're actually stretching these muscles right here in ways they're not supposed to stretch because your spine is supposed to, so it's more of standing straight up. Anyhow, welcome
Yeah.
to alignment talk with Aaron and Danae. You ready to
Hey,
show a dough?
listen, we got to talk about this stuff. It's our show. We can
No,
do
it's
whatever
true.
we want.
It's true. We do what we want.
No
We're doing it
one tells
live.
us what to do. Nobody. Sorry. Is that a little bit
Uh,
too intense?
oh, before we do get started, big time shout out. Thank you to Nick Jagged, who's in the chat saying morning,
Good morning.
became a member of Team DNA. Welcome to Team DNA, Nick.
Yay! Thank you.
And that is through Patreon. It's $5 a month. There's just one level, and that means we are now, Danae, three.
Three.
Three members of Team DNA away from
I
the
have to
next
tell you,
milestone.
that next milestone where we're going to get to pick your shirt, it's
Mhm.
getting more and more attractive. I think I haven't yet gone visually shopping for what I would throw in the mix
Right.
to vote on.
Yeah, because our Team DNA members are going to vote. The
'Cause
Team
that very
DNA
first-
members are going to choose.
The very first shirt that was thrown up on Twitter, I think it was Twitter, that had like the dragons and the gold.
Mm-hmm.
It's
a good one. It's hard to get past that one, huh?
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to end up going that one. Anyway, thank you so much for your support.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for watching the show live. It's always free for you to watch and enjoy wherever you are subscribed. So appreciate you joining us in the morning, especially since this is a Sunday. It's not a planned day. We go live
Yeah.
on Mondays at 9 a.m. Central every Monday. And then some days throughout the rest of the week, today being one of those some days. And are you, I'm ready. Are you ready?
You ready to shoot a dough?
Let's do it.
All right. We're going to do the DNA and you, and that stands for Danae and Aaron and, well, you. And so Danae will have a topic, I will have a topic, and you will have a topic. So be thinking now about what topic you would like us to talk about. Any questions you have, anything goes question-wise. We may not choose to answer everything, but we do want to hear any questions that you have for us, and we will do our best to
if you
answer
can-
all we can.
If you can title them "you question" and then write your question, that
Or
helps
even
us
just
to find
you,
it.
just the letter U.
Just the letter U.
Yeah, that'll help
Okay.
us zoom in on any questions. That way you can even, like, if you think of them during the show, you can even pop them in the chat and it'll be easier to, find them in the chat that's going on. So, Danae, kick us off. What is the D question, the D topic today?
The D topic today is, what's a no-no word in your house? Now,
Oh,
no-no
interesting.
word being like when you were growing up that your parents said you couldn't say, or maybe you have kids and
Well, let me
there's
list
a
them.
no-no
There's
word.
there's bleep and bleep bleep and bleep 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 and bleep.
Okay,
Those words?
super great point. I'm talking about ones that might be unexpected. Oh, you know what? Here, let me fix this.
Please stand by. Danae is fixing her topic for the day. I love the standby music. It's amazing.
Okay. How's this look, Aaron? I mean, I just fixed it.
Okay.
So how's that? What's an unexpected, abnormal, not super bad no word in your house?
Very nice.
Does that help?
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm going to give you one, our scenario in our house right now, which is my husband heard my daughter say that something was stupid. This was several months ago, and he reacted pretty strongly. He's like, "Oh, Iris, we don't use that word. We don't call people stupid. That's not okay." So he kind of put his foot down, and me, as the support person, I'm like, "Oh, like, yeah, super right. We don't want to call people stupid. We don't want to call people names anyway, but let's, stupid's a great place to start."
Which is the point, right? It's not actually about the word stupid. It's about, degrading people. Right.
Right, which is hard to explain to a 3-year-old.
Correct.
So I think, the idea is we just ban the word altogether, circle back for explanation
Sure.
later.
Parents have been doing it for years. Yes.
Turns out we use the word stupid a whole lot.
Yeah.
So over the past few months, our 3-year-old is correcting us all the time. "Oh, Daddy, you can't say that word stupid. That's a bad word. We don't say that word," she'll say. And she's right. Like, we put the rule down. We said it. We have to follow through on it. But we use it on the regular. I use it, like, just to be funny. Like, "Oh, that's just so stupid." I'll say it like that.
Right.
Or I'll be like, I don't know, I'll say "shut up." That's another one we kind of are trying to like pull back on. I'll say "shut up," So anyway,
I like banning "shut up." "Shut up" feels a little more bannable to me because there are very few instances where you're going to use "shut up" in a way that's not intended to be sharp or hurtful, or you know what I mean? Like,
but it's yes, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
I mean, unless it's playful. I guess that's true. I guess it could be playful. Be like, "Oh, shut up." I guess there could be a playfulness to it, but
I kind of use it in that playful way, but I'm also having to ask myself the question. I think maybe the answer is I do say it in a joking but serious way sometimes. So maybe I got to think about that one too. The interesting thing though is, like, once you make a rule, you kind of have to follow through on it, or you have to fix things up. My mom and my dad, so my daughter's grandparents, they were hanging out with Iris, and they were playing the I Spy game. They're in the car. My mom says, "I spy with my little eye," and then right then a fly like landed on her face or flew around or something, and she goes, "Oh, stupid fly!" And my kid's in the back seat. She starts cracking up because you're not supposed to do that. It was kind of funny. And so because Iris laughed, my parents don't know that we have this rule or whatever. They turned it into a funny rhyme. "I spy with my little eye a stupid fly." So then we have this whole situation where then I have to explain to Iris, again, 3, that when she's at Grandma and Grandpa's house, or people might say this word and you can't correct everybody, and it's not, we just have a preference in our house. But now she's correcting Grandma and Grandpa. It went from funny to like, "We don't say that word. That's a naughty word and you shouldn't say that word." So now we've created this little monster situation, and that's what I wanted to share with you guys.
Well, it comes down to, especially at that age, like, rules are so important because they determine how you learn things. They determine how you do everything. When you're, soaking your world up, you need as many rules as possible to understand what you're taking in. And so for a 3-year-old to say this is a rule, man, they'll grab right onto that.
Super.
And then they'll be very aware when, hey, why
Somebody
is that
else says
rule
it.
broken? Yeah. So,
And it happens on shows as well. Who will say the word stupid. So yeah, I think where we're going to in our parenting, and where we probably are all going to, is, like you're saying, realizing that there's nuances and there's other things that play into what allows a word to be said or not. But we're kind of in that. We're in that oopsie zone right now.
Sarcastic Honey Badger don't care. Sarcastic Honey Badger says, no word hate. You could only say dislike. I've heard that one a lot too. That's a good exercise.
On another platform entirely from YouTube, because Honey Badger's on Twitch, I believe.
Yeah.
And from YouTube, Nick says, "I don't let my girls say hate, or they hate something. We also try to refrain from shut up." Yeah. So it's kind of like those negative ones that just shut people down, I think. Here's a fun one from Slab, who says, "Fart. I don't let my girls say fart. We use the word fluffy instead. Drives my girls crazy because I refuse to explain its origins." Okay. So funny story. My mom and dad, actually, I think it came from my grandmother. They didn't like the word fart either. They think it's crass.
Sure.
but they also didn't like toot for whatever reason. So they made up a word called buster, kind of like your Fluffy.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, Slab. Someday your kids are going to meet an animal named Fluffy, and your kid's going to be like, what is wrong with those people that named that kid? Because I met a kid named Buster one time, and I was like, why did they do that to you?
Why did you name your rabbit Fluffy? That's gross, man. It's just gross. No, that's a good one. We definitely were supposed to say past gas in my family. That was what we were supposed to say. I've taken to say flatulence because that is the technical term. And I think technical terms are hilarious and amazing and awesome. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, there is a snootiness to the way we use words that we have to deal with. And it's, I don't know, there's a snobbery to it where it's like, you can say this, but you can't say that. Well, they mean the same thing. You're communicating the same thing. If you need to talk about a fart and you want to say fart, say fart, like it's you're just communicating.
I feel like, words are interesting. They affect people differently. There's always someone else that's going to find something more offensive than what you do and vice versa. So it's just about managing, not getting offended, I think is really what it's about, is trying to teach,
well,
not
then you go
offended.
into cultural differences about like what's a no-no word in England, versus things we just say here all the time. For instance, without going into too much detail, you can do your own research. But if you go travel in England, don't tell someone you're wearing your fanny pack. It is a completely
rude.
different situation over there. So, yeah.
Nick adds that the Disney Channel tween shows are the worst. Nothing but sarcasm and mean teasing to a laugh track to make them think it's funny. Okay.
That's a good point. Yeah.
That is a super good point. And one of the reasons I really don't like those shows anyway. And I'm hoping that Iris never picks up on them. She's super into Daniel Tiger and PJ Masks, and I'm okay with that. And Nature Cat. So let's just try to have her watch those shows forever. She never can watch anything else. She's 18. She's still watching Nature Cat. That's fine with me.
I have to bring this up from Lolly, and I apologize. We'll just leave it at this. We weren't allowed to say fart as kids. We had to say Trump.
Oh, like a little
on.
trumpet. Like a trumpet.
Of course. Yes, of course.
What a fun name. Adel Warhada says,
Sure,
my no-no words are currently diet, work, and non-alcoholic. Excellent.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, we had a lot growing up. I am very actually thankful for the way that I was raised to understand how we use words. I think it has shaped so much of who I am. I believe my parents were very keen on not just saying, here's what you don't say, but saying, here's why you don't say it. And that words are useful and they're meaningful when they communicate. And a lot of times, especially words that are slang words or words we use that are profane or those kind of things, are words that communicate things we may not intend them to communicate. So being very careful about how you communicate things is important. So yeah.
I prefer, like, let's just to kind of wrap up. This is kind of a weird thing to say to wrap up, but hey, it's me.
Welcome to the show. First time.
My thing, I think too, is like normalizing also, like we're talking about like the word fart or like body, body function kind of being a weird thing we just don't talk about. That happened a lot in my family too.
Or body parts.
I wish we just didn't worry about defining it at all. Like, why do we have to apologize when we fart?
Right. Yeah, it's a normal thing.
Is it because it's just a weird sound? Is it because it's disruptive in church? I don't know. But if everybody just did it because our bodies have to do it and it wasn't weird, you know what I mean?
Sure.
I don't know.
Well, there is an element of, it's not a great smell a lot of the times too. So like that's,
sure,
there is that aspect of the politeness of, that part.
But we don't apologize for our feet when they stink.
Yeah, we should. I think that's...
Should we though, Aaron? It's just if I don't know.
Anytime you do anything off-putting, you kind of, I don't know. I think there's something there. You shouldn't apologize for being human. The apology is more like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry that this is part of me right now, like, or no longer part of me because it's out of me now, and you have to deal with the consequences, kind of thing.
Anyway, maybe that's a conversation for another day.
Yes.
Hey, leave it to me to have really great topics about body funk.
Slab sums it up well. Apologize for the smell, not the noise.
I don't know. You didn't apologize when the burrito tasted really good yesterday. Why are you apologizing for it today?
Fair enough. You ready for the A topic?
Unpopular opinion. Yeah, what you got?
There was some sort of debate that happened recently that we haven't even touched on. In fact, last night, I believe the presidential debate happened. Someone in the chat was asking us about that, but it got me thinking about things that you like to debate. And I will be honest, I didn't watch much of the debate last night. I just wasn't in the mood for a couple people yelling at each other for 90 minutes or whatever it was. I have caught up on bits and pieces of it, but it is one of those things where some people are born to have conversations, to actually want to, think about things and debate them with people, and possibly, imagine this, a civilized way that takes into account respect for the other person and their viewpoints. And I am one of those people. So it just got me thinking about, like, what are those things that you actually enjoy debating, And man, I have a lot of them in my life. The prime one that comes to mind, and please, I guess I should apologize for something is part of me. This is going to be very philosophical because that's just where my brain goes. But the debate I love having with people is about free will and determinism. The idea that, is the future set? Do we have the ability to actually choose? Is it possible that both things can be true? Is it possible that there is only one future that will ever happen, but we still have free choice? That is one of my favorite debates to engage with people. So Danae, what's the answer?
I'm
what's
sorry,
the answer?
I wasn't paying attention.
Free will or determinism, or both?
No, that's not the question. The question is, what's your favorite thing to debate? So like in my family, I think I was raised where the conversation was, if there was like a debate or a conversation that was happening, the goal was not to like come to some sort of like middle ground. It was just talking louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. Although we really rarely had debates. We rarely had conversation where someone had an opposing opinion and the other person, those usually were just kind of like, they didn't happen. They were more like, we're getting excited to say the next thing rather than like the next point. So I was not raised in a family where you come to the table with a debate mentality and you talk about your perspective from a healthy, like you said the word conversation. To me, debate is not conversation. It's an argument with rules. And I hate it.
Arguing is different though.
I don't know. I'm just telling you about my opinion on it. Like my opinion on it as we debate this is
exactly right. Are we having an argument? Or are we, just trying to figure out what each other feel and think and hear and listen? And
so I think that's but thinking that it was like more argumentative meant that I didn't engage in that. Like there was no debate for me in school. I didn't engage in debate. I wasn't interested in the fields where you would need to debate. Although I was told I'd be a great lawyer at some point in time. Although now that I'm getting older, I wonder if they were just saying that as a sort of insult because I like to argue. I don't know. Anyway.
Like some sort of backhanded compliment kind of thing.
Was that
You'd be a great lawyer. The profession that people hate.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that wasn't positive. I'm like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so I think I've sort of steered clear of debates in general.
My most exciting thing, and there's actually, my sister is watching us right now, and she had a chat and comment in the chat that will bring a light to this. But my favorite thing is when you actually realize the person you disagree with is interested in exploring the topic and not just getting their point across. That's where debate becomes wonderful, where it really becomes this collaborative journey to truth, to find some common ground, to find an understanding of what the other person thinks. It's not always a journey to agreement. It's often a journey to understanding. Like, it's okay if we still disagree, but we're understanding each other better, is kind of what I enjoy about that kind of stuff. So yeah, but for my sister, she says, my entire childhood was listening to Aaron debate everything under the sun with my mother. Torture. And I get it. I guess it can be torture for people. I guess it's one of those things because it feels like conflict, right? It feels like conflict when that happens. So yeah.
Here's one from Nick says, Star Wars. It seems trivial, but debating Star Wars topics. So Slab says, it's not a hill to die on, but whether a movie is a Christmas movie or not, like Princess Bride.
That's great.
It's a fun debate.
Yeah, Princess Bride, we were sinning that. I had never even noticed that was Like, I know that movie front to back. Like, I could quote probably a dozen or 2 dozen lines from that movie. Never realized he brings him the book for a Christmas present, that there's, a Santa on the wall, that the
Yeah.
houses are decorated outside. I like, I mean, if you believe that Christmas movies are movies that take place over Christmas, then Princess Bride is a Christmas movie. If you believe the movie has to say something specifically about Christmas, then it's not. Neither is Die Hard. So, but yeah, that's a fun debate to have.
I'm loving these. Justice Danae, says Volk Tyler. And then Nick says, oh my God, Danae, people told me I'd be a great lawyer as a kid, and I'm positive they were being insulting now. Oh no. I'm just now realizing like that wasn't a cool thing to say. Oh,
Well,
man.
I have told my son that he would be great in the justice system, but I think he would be a better judge. I think that's the more positive
Yeah,
way to
maybe I'm a
say that.
judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would
Yeah.
love that, right?
What
Like
I
that's
say is final. I love that. Let's do that. That's what I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's one from Kenan says, another good one is loosely based on Thomas J. Oord's book, God Can't. Does God limit itself to not do things based on giving humanity free will?
That's the same conversation I love having, and my answer to that is I don't think he has to give humans free will. I think both can exist. It is improvable scientifically, but I think it has to do with time limiting our ability to understand determinism. So, yeah.
Kenan adds, also, sometimes it's fun to just take a different stance than the other person in order to explore the topic and challenge your own
Sure.
idea or solidify it.
Do you
I
like
agree with that. That to me is more about conversation rather than it being like a debate thing. Like when I think of debate, I do think about there being rules. Like you have to have a point, you have to back that point with some facts. You're trying to almost convince an audience to come with you rather than like explore the conversation. And I think, Aaron, what you're talking about is more conversational. It's more like,
Mhm.
a willingness to come to the table and explore a topic at deep length and blah 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 blah. And I am built like that. In my friend groups, like if I'm having a conversation with a friend where they have a different opinion, I think I've always tried to join them in some way and figure out if what they're saying matches me somehow and sort of lower my guard. And you get better and better at that as you learn to not be so offended by what someone else is putting on the table for you to consider. I have a lot of very diverse friends, and I'm glad that I do. I have a varied group of friends.
Yeah, me too. And I think that's important. And I think what you said earlier about debate to you is like who can yell the loudest over the other person kind of
Mhm.
idea is unfortunately how a lot of people feel about when you disagree. I think how you feel about the idea of disagreeing with somebody is going to hinder or help your ability to build relationships because all humans disagree with all other humans on something or other, right? So I think there's a real healthy way to shift your perspective on disagreement from being, oh, great, now we have to yell at each other until one of us changes their mind, to we can go on a journey here together to understand each other. I think that's beautiful. Like, yeah, so I get it. Everybody has their different comfort level, but I think we could explore more ideas on how to disagree peacefully, how to have a conversational debate as opposed to a argumentative debate.
Sire Egdo adds, I enjoy being devil's advocate in discussions because I feel like it helps to expand everyone's thoughts and knowledge. But apparently it has led to friends believing those are my actual beliefs, even though I always lead with I'm being a devil's advocate here. Yeah, and I think that's part of too is just sometimes you're misunderstood. And for me, discussion and conversation is a chance to try to explore where I'm landing and kind of circle back with stuff. And I've changed my mind. I remember attending this gathering once, and um there was a saying that someone said, which is like you have the right to choose as many times as you want, as much as you want in a day. And I think because at the time I was young, I was just like I think I was 18 or 19 years old, and I was just like kind of starting to start my own life. And you think like whatever decision you make is like the end all. It's what you have to do or something. And realizing that you can choose and re-choose in a moment, like I could start this conversation now about hating debate, and within 5 minutes I can change my right. That's my right to change my mind whenever I want to. And people have a hard time, I feel, sometimes following our ability to adjust and shift. When I got married, I told my husband when we were dating, I was like, I don't know who I'm going to be in 10 years. So hopefully 20 years, I
Mhm.
don't know. Hopefully there's parts of me that is always going to be a loving person who cares about people. And there's like a core to me that I think that's true. But I don't know what that is going to express itself like as I get older. So I'm going to change. I'm going to be a different person. I'm not going to be the same. And I've always loved that ability. And I think you can do that in conversation too. So for anyone who, has those chats and then feels misrepresented, hopefully you can go back and remind those people that, where you actually stand, and maybe they'll see you as they want. And sometimes people just won't see you as you are because you've changed or whatever.
The
There's me
devil's
going off on
advocate
a rant.
thing. No, that's fine. I was just giving you the space
Oh, I
to
did
change
it.
and say what you needed to say
Thanks,
before.
man.
See, that's
Thanks,
the thing.
man.
Conversations about listening and then speaking, not about
Thanks, man.
interrupting because you have something to say.
That's what I
I've
do
been,
all the time, though. I interrupt
yeah,
all the time.
we all do, and I'm
Sorry.
catching myself doing it. In
Sorry.
fact, I almost did it to you to say what I'm about to say now about the devil's advocate thing.
I'm sorry.
Now you're interrupting to say you're sorry. Got it. Totally got it. The devil's
Oh, how do
advocate.
you put up with me?
I just do,
It's
because
amazing.
that is part of being friends. The devil's advocate thing is interesting to me because you talk about people believing that what you're saying is what you believe. This is the key important thing about free speech, right? We have to have the ability to verbalize the things we're thinking, the ideas that we have, whether we have grabbed onto them as a firm belief or not, because that is how you figure out what you believe. And what happens in an environment where free speech is limited is that people hold on to thoughts that they can't process with each other because they're not allowed to talk about it. They're not allowed to say anything that might be different than the norm or might even be wrong. But I just need to get it out there and verbalize it so I can work my way through it and find, oh yeah, no, I don't like the way that sounds. Or actually when I talk about that with you, it doesn't make sense. Like that is why free speech is so important. And man, there are a lot of elements of our divisive culture now
Mm.
that want to limit free speech. And I'm not talking about a particular person, group, side, whatever. I'm just saying in a divisive culture, there is the policing of speech increases. And the idea that if you say this idea,
Hmm.
that makes you a bad person. And I
Yeah.
just, man, that's free speech will always be paramount to me in being able to have a growing and thriving community. So yeah.
Marielle says the problem is when people change their minds, they are accused of flip flopping.
Same thing, yeah.
Kind of to your point, I think trying to find the right people that you can be vulnerable with and flip flop, but at the same time, being able to go, so like, what's wrong with flip flopping? I'm still deciding.
Right?
And then also going, hey, I'm still undecided on this. I'm just going to start spitballing and see what comes out of my
Yes.
mouth. It's a terrifying thing because you might say something that is gross,
When
rude,
you when
wrong,
you
dark. Like you
yeah,
have like to your point, Aaron, you have to kind of hear yourself say it sometimes. And so doing that with the safest people that you can is tricky because you have to find them.
mhm.
Or you go to a counselor, right? And you just work out some stuff with someone that is neutral.
Even the strongest things that I believe and say, when I say them, I want you to always interpret them as this is what I think I believe right now. Because that is all it is to be human is this is what I think I believe right now. There is always an element of questioning. We are not supernatural, omniscient beings that know
Speak for
things like
yourself.
that. I'm sorry. Aside from Danae, we are not supernatural,
I'm joking,
omniscient
Lord.
beings that
Sure.
know everything. So everything I say, as confidently as I say it, even if I strongly believe it, please know I'm saying it with the attitude of this is what I think I believe right
Yeah.
now. And if we can
Yeah.
give each other that grace, I just think, man,
Wouldn't
it
that be
changes
nice?
everything. Yeah, it
I
changes
know I
everything.
try to. I wish I'd put that lens on. Oh, what is it like the golden rule or whatever? You want to treat people like you want to treat yourself. I have to think about that sometimes in my
Mhm.
regular relationships. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to put myself in their shoes. How would I want to be treated right now? I would want someone to assume the best of me and then come back around and be like, hey, so what you said hit me wrong. Can we talk about it again? That's not debate, though. That's conversation. And that's the stuff I like.
Mhm.
So, I mean, but this has been a really great chat. I have to admit, when you told me the topic, I was a little bit nervous, but you guys are showing up great stuff in the comments. Nick adds, totally agree with the devil's advocate comment earlier. That's me
He means
completely.
me.
Yeah, me completely. Sometimes I do it to my own detriment. Yeah, he corrected himself here. So, you know, conversation is scary. Putting yourself out there is scary.
Yeah.
Somebody can misinterpret what you say or what you do all the time.
Sure.
For me, my peace really came whenever I was like, you know what? I'm living for an audience of one. I believe, and I'm not getting preachy on you guys. I promise. This is just me telling you what I think.
This is what she thinks she believes.
This is what I think I
right
believe.
now.
Yeah, right now. This is what I think I believe. There is this being, right? Really crazy outside of space and time. I know it's really sci-fi, but just go with me here. And can see me, right? And communicate with me through some form of telepathy and imagery and instinct. It's really weird. I'm sorry. But I think like this being has the best grasp on love and peace and kindness. And so I just have to trust that that being, whom I think has to say in my eternal life, like sees me, knows me. So like if I'm in a moment and I say something like way off base, I have peace because I'm like, you got me. You know what my intention is. You know where my heart is at. My feebleness, I can't put it all together like how I want, but you know me. And that's where I get my peace. That's why I say I've got an audience of one. Not so I can go out and do whatever the heck I want and be a total beep, but because in those moments when I'm talking to somebody or talking to you, and I have to kind of trust that like the message that I want to have come across is coming across. Like I would go to bed and not be able to sleep every single night if I was, because I'd be worried all the time that I am messing up relationships and like everything. I'd be way too worried about it. But if I pull back, I'm just like, nope, I'm seen. I gotta just trust that I'll be good. And if something really crazy falls out, I'll do my best to go back and address it.
I think the audience of one perspective even works beyond your faith or belief in a creator God. Like there is an idea of you where you know that your value doesn't come from, and it doesn't come from other, a majority of other humans disagreeing with you or whatever. We're all on the same level. Nobody is greater than anybody else. So no, I appreciate that sentiment as well. So
let's kick it over to the U comments, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
So we've done the D topic, the A topic. Now it's the U topic. Whatever's on your mind. If you have a question for Aaron and I, or you want us to like spitball on a particular topic for a minute, we would be happy to do so. Anything goes, but we don't have to answer anything. And while we're waiting for your comments, questions, or whatever to come in, just a reminder that we go live every Monday at 9 a.m. Central, and then some days throughout the rest of the week. Right now, we're on Wednesday. And
it's a Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Hi, Daniel. It's good to see you. So you can follow us wherever you watch the show. If you're on YouTube, you can click the little bell to get a notification when we go live. Or if you're on Periscope or Twitter or you can just click whatever and follow us. And
she means the social media network that shall not be named.
That's way longer though.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So anyhow, that way you know when we go live on our Sundays, but you can set your clock to Mondays at 9.
First you question from Lolly says, would you rather have fingers for toes or toes for fingers? A nice would you rather to kick us off. Would you rather have fingers for toes or toes for fingers? This is an easy answer for me. So you look like you're thinking, so I will let you go first.
I think I'd rather have fingers for toes.
Of course. How is that even a choice? Like,
let's debate
I already have these giant, fingers that like if they were just like thumbs, like how would I do anything?
I also was thinking more like for grip factor, like how cool would it be that you could like hang upside down and like you could do so much. You'd be like a monkey.
I could literally right now, and you would never know it, be like taking notes with my right foot. Like, writing some stuff down.
Do you think you could?
Of course.
Really?
Of course, yes. I'd have a lower shelf with my drink on it. I'd grab it with my foot and then bring it up to my hand. Like,
wow.
Yeah, fingers
You'd
for
be
toes.
that flexible that you could get your foot up to your face.
Here's the thing. It completely changes footwear. We'd have to have more like
gloves
on our
Which
feet.
they already have those weird little shoes with like
Right.
little.
Yeah.
Slab asks, "You got weekend plans?"
It's Wednesday. Who's thinking about the weekend?
I actually do. Can I tell you what it is?
Sure.
My cousin's birthday. And she is doing a virtual whodunit murder mystery Zoom party, which sounds insane, but I mean, getting together digitally is the way that things are going right now. So there's this, like companies sometimes put on like murder mystery gigs or whatever. Well, they're figuring out how to do it with Zoom chats. So I have received my character that I'm supposed to play. And so I've got to like dress up and then show up at the Zoom meeting and be prepared to be a part of this murder mystery. It's going to be like 2 hours on, I think, like Saturday night.
Nice.
So that's what I'm doing. Aaron, what are you doing?
I don't know. Probably marching band stuff. My kids are in marching band. They're figuring out how to do that during a global pandemic. We went to their competition this last weekend, and it was just them, and it was videoed. And then they send that video to the judges, and several other schools do the same thing. But it is marching band season, and so every weekend for the next, few weekends, we'll probably have a tournament in one way or another, depending on how that works
Cool.
in this situation. So, yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Here's one from Ken. If you were to get a job as a voice actor, what does your character's voice sound like? And please demonstrate. Mine would probably be an elderly man. Oh, no, my hip's out again. That's probably mine.
It's Harold. That's Harold.
Harold.
That's Harold.
Huh. I love my tomato garden.
Martha!
Martha! My tomatoes are getting bad on the vine. I better get out there and pluck them. But I don't want to go outside because it's cold and my hip hurts. That's probably mine.
Sarcastic Honey Badger has another voice of yours.
Yes!
Tassie Tab.
Tassie Tab's another one.
I don't know. I would have to study the backstory and history of the character. I would have to understand the point of origin, the geographical point of origin to that character. I would need to do some research that would inform how that character would speak. It would come from a place of homework as opposed to instinct. And that, in a nutshell, is how Danae and I are different.
Slab says, it's my daughter's birthday too. Hey, happy birthday to your daughter. No party, just the three of us, and making a ruined Simpsons cake for her. What's a ruined Simpsons cake? Is that from from an episode? I don't
think that's specifically a thing. I think they just tried to make a Simpsons cake and ruined it. I don't think that's like a
making a ruined Simpsons cake.
Although in our house, we have an oops cake that my wife made for one of our boys' birthdays that was supposed to be this glorious, and it just messed up, and now we make it that way. So that can happen. Like maybe ruined Simpsons cake is actually a thing.
Yeah, maybe that's a thing. Yeah.
All right, I have to pop this up here. It's going back just a little bit, but JCD says my tomatoes are getting bad on the vine. Sounds like a medical condition.
He probably has that. He's very old.
Yes. Harold, JC, not you.
Harold. Yeah.
Harold.
This one comes from Volk Tyler. What is one of your favorite person of faith in a TV or movie? Mary Cooper from Young Sheldon.
Oh man, what an interesting question. Yeah.
That's a really good question.
So this is, I was listening to a very popular podcast that does pop culture stuff called The Rewatchables, where they basically take movies and go over several categories with them. But they were doing Easy A, and they were talking about how the Christians in Easy A are so stereotypical, snobby, jerk Christians, which Christians in pop culture have been for a long time. And shall I say, that doesn't come from a completely false place. It can certainly, people of faith can certainly come off that way or even be that way. But I found the conversation interesting because it got me thinking about what is a more nuanced, more non-stereotypical portrayal of a person of faith in kind of pop culture in general. So, it's always an interesting question because it kind of reveals a little bit about how you feel about your own faith, like how you best feel that it's expressed, how you feel, those kind of things. So, Danae, what are you thinking? Kind of land on anything?
No, because I have such a hard time remembering like plot lines and stories and stuff like that. So I'm not able to like pull something out of my memory that I've watched where I've been like, "Oh, that's a really interesting representation of faith." Um, but it probably would be somebody who just was super, super kind and regular and non-judgmental. I would really think that would stand out well because I think people in faith are sometimes represented of having like incredibly rigid rules and incredibly
Mhm.
rigid ways of interacting and
Yeah.
judgmental. And I just we're not all like that. Just gonna
It's
say it.
starting to happen more, and I do wish I could give you a good example. Here are some from the chat. Lolly says Sister Michael from Dairy Girls is hilarious. Nick says Vidak Wynn in Star Trek DS9
Oh, interesting.
is one.
Right. Like there's just these interesting faith representatives
Mhm.
in like yeah. I really
Um,
am curious. I kind of want to go back and watch some of my sci-fi loves because there's always somebody in there.
well, you could even you could talk about Book from Firefly, right? Like
Yeah.
that's definitely an interesting
That's true.
representation
The
of.
shepherd or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
So
good one.
Dame Maggie is Mother Superior in Sister Act. So
Sister Act.
I know
How
it's
about Whoopi's character in Sister Act is my favorite representation of faith.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh my god.
No, that's a great question, and I wish I had a better answer, like right at the tip of my tongue. If I did some study, I could probably come up with some. But yeah.
I'm just gonna throw this one up just real quick from Craig. Danae, did you write on Hercules for CinemaSins? I don't want to wait a week. You're gonna have to wait a week. I can't do BTS spoilers here, even though I'm wearing my BTS shirt.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice.
Wow, it's super, super fun. Oh, here's one callback. Lolly asks, hey, the next time that you read Chris's comments on BTS, please use Harold's voice. Oh my gosh, if I can remember. And if it's not long, because Harold, he requires a lot of vocal work.
Yeah.
It's very breathy, you know?
I don't remember the character's name. I'm finally kind of
Oh, are you
zoning in
thinking of
on.
one?
Yeah, I don't remember the character's name, but I remember the first time I saw a person of faith in a popular TV show was the Sorkin show, Aaron Sorkin, who I think does this really well actually. Actually in most Aaron Sorkin shows, he usually has a person of faith that's a little more nuanced. But specifically Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, one of the main characters was not only a person of faith, but kind of the stereotypical like hardcore person of faith, except that they were more open and less judgmental, and they had nuance to them. And
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciated that. That was kind of the first time I remember going, "Oh yeah, that's an actual human that you're portraying
Yeah.
there," as opposed to a stereotype. And by the way, any kind of group or character trait or anything that you associate yourself with is going to be weird to see in pop culture because pop culture uses stereotypes. And
Yeah.
for so long there was this stereotypical homosexual character and the stereotypical black character and and so these stereotypes do have an impact on the way we see each other. And I think it's so important to keep human and nuance in the way we portray those things. And a lot of times that comes down to the writing and the actor. So yeah.
Yeah. Let's get a little bit more creative with
Mhm.
definitions.
Yeah, this is a great choice as well, Denzel in Book of Eli.
Yeah.
Um,
Which I never
so
saw. But yeah. I actually was answering a question. I got like a phone call, like it was a hey, we're just wanting to do a poll to get kind of an idea of how people are voting. And I was like, sure, whatever. And I was on the phone for like 15 minutes answering questions. And it came
yeah.
down to it's like, do you define yourself as a Christian? And I said yes. And they said, okay, are you evangelical or born again? I was
Because
like,
those are the only two choices.
those are the only two options? Do you
That's
know?
the thing, the complexity of humanity is just we
Like,
just try to simplify things and it just
we
doesn't
need to
work.
ask
Yeah.
more questions, have
Yeah.
more options.
Yeah.
But then when it came down to what's a really important thing to cover in the upcoming debate, it was like they gave me 15 options. This, and then just rapid fire. I'm like,
Mhm.
defining Christianity should not be like evangelical or born again. Like, okay, how is a Catholic going to respond to that? I'm just curious. I'm not Catholic, but how would they, or anyone else that says that they're Christian? I was like, Bohemian? Is that an? I don't know.
I'm a hippie Christian. Is
I'm
that
like
a thing? Like,
do you have an option for like
evolving Christian?
laid back, fearful of God, but not in like a really demanding way? Like,
Agnostic Christian? Like,
I guess skip. I want to go back to this one, and maybe we can wrap up here from JCD saying your favorite board or card game? Woo!
Cribbage. Cribbage
You're on a
is so much
cribbage
fun.
kick.
I'm on a cribbage kick. I bought a nice cribbage board. Nobody in my life likes to play cribbage. I have to find a cribbage partner. It's probably, well, actually, I should say nobody. One of my sons has enjoyed playing. So there you go. I have somebody to play with.
I'm really into Sagrada right now. Sagrada, Sagrada. It's Aaron, how it's like a puzzle game, I guess. Essentially, it's
a visual logic game.
Yeah, it's like a
so
logic
there's
game. It's
lots of
interesting.
permutations, lots of combinations, but it's all visual stuff. So if you like to see things, like Sagrada's kind of the thing for you.
This is my adoptive sister who lives in Norway. So hello, Mariana. It's good to see you. She says Danilo Settlers of Catan. She
It's
says this
sister.
because I don't like it. And you're trolling me, and I love you for it. Nick is saying chess. Volk is saying Clue. JCD says I'm gonna have to figure out how to play cribbage.
So
and
fun.
also, it sounds like a medical condition. So someone adds, yeah, they make a cream for something called cribbage.
All right, guys, listen.
So I'm loving that.
This is turning from conversational debate to argumentative debate, and we need to stop.
You're feeling
okay?
trolled.
I am.
We actually
triggered.
do need to wrap up for the day.
Yeah.
You guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us on this Wednesday. We hope that you have a wonderful day or evening, whatever time zone you are in. We adore you guys. Thanks to our Patreon supporters for
Team DNA
supporting us every month at patreon.com/StudioDNA, which
3 away.
we're 3 away, I guess. 3 more subs there, and we'll be picking Aaron's new shirt out. He says he's only going to wear it for a week.
That's
I'm
right.
going to say
You
a
make
month.
make me wear a shirt for a week. You can't change the rules now.
I can.
You can't. Let's debate.
No.
we?
Here's okay. Let's debate just super fast because my debate version is just that I'm right and you say yes because I'm the judge. So,
Interesting. Let's give that a shot.
Here's the thing: we could say 1 week and we might only go live once that whole week.
Well, then say a number. Say 5 days. Then
Okay.
feel free to make it 5 days.
5 times.
5 times. You got it.
5 in a row.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. 5 in a row.
Bam!
I will
like
wear
that.
the shirt that you choose as a member of Team DNA. 5 shows in a row. Yeah, and you'll get to vote on
our
it.
diplomacy. All right. Thank you guys for your support at Patreon, but also just for watching. And also, if you're having a good time with us, share it with a friend.
Sure.
Somebody else might want to hang out with us in the mornings or wherever you are in time zone land and have fun with us. You guys in the chat are an absolute delight. We love the community that you're building, even if it's across all these different places. So thank you for subbing, and we'll see you next Sunday/Monday.
We will see you on the next Monday/Someday, wherever you subscribe. Bye, guys.
Bye.